like the, the Des predictions.
I feel like they've been in strong form.
Yeah.
Of late in the matches that we've seen of them in the ECS season. So I'm expecting big things from them. NRG have not gone as far as they would have liked to, I think. Obviously you've got new man Tarek on the team, but he's should be nice and comfortable now, so we'll see what they can do. Train with NRG starting on the T side. No P250s for NRG. They've got 3 of the 5 players of Kevlar, Ethan and Daps focusing on utility. But smoke and a Molotov for Daps. Double flash and a smoke for Ethan. So I'm very curious to see where they will look to use these. They've been deployed now, heading towards the A-bomb site, it seems. One near connector to deny information. So you can't see the players coming out of the pop dog area, but Forest on the train certainly will. Lekro gets off to a good start, and he gets even better. Always good at pistols, Lekro, especially the Deagle, but Daps is fighting back.
Yeah, that's some good work, but they have to go for the plant, and to do that with so few players is very difficult. You can see Cirque struggling. He's trying to just get the plant. That's all he wants at this point. He knows that winning the round is out of the question, but at least he guaranteed the money. And I have to say that I think NIP will be really scary if they get off to a good start on the CT side, because not only, for me, are NIP going to have a lot more strength on their CT side than the T side inherently. I think that, as mentioned on the desk, both of these teams are very much, emotional teams and momentum-based teams where that can really help them and almost inflate their results if they're able to get off to that really confident start. However, NRG go for the force buy with that bomb plant, which may be unexpected. We'll have to see if NIP can deal with this. And also, I'm curious what NRG's options will look like. They've got the 2 AKs. They've got a lot of presence towards Ivy already. Well, I say they've got a lot of presence. There's no presence yet, but we can see that there is soon to be presence towards Ivy. But the bomb is towards the wide halls. So is it going to be a Ivy pop split onto, or ladder room split onto the A side? Or are they going to try to go for some faking shenanigans? Lots of options here for NRG. AK towards Inner as well as towards Ivy. Breeze sees nothing though. More forward setup from NIP. And there's a quick flash. And okay, well now they've got a spot on. Rez notoriously dangerous in that ladder room position. NRG though, they've actually worked their way out of Ivy. But the bomb is not with them just yet.
It is not. Forrest is in an elevated position. He won't be expected, but he will be dealt with. That's very important. Ethan not carrying the bomb, just behind him with Tarek, but timing's getting tight now. Get Right's in a position to look in 2 different places with the Org, and Lekro can cover us back somewhat towards that sandwich position. Breeze taken out. Cirque is surely not long for this world of 16 HP, just waiting for the right time. He can hear the scope and the outscope, but he can't really do anything to punish. He just doesn't have the health or the weaponry. And at least Daps alone. Nice cleanup around that Ivy area, or from the Ivy area for Lekro. 4 kills for him. 2-0 for NIP.
That 4th kill from Lekro was pretty awesome. I wasn't expecting that. Pure reactions. I feel like that's one of those shots where you don't register that you just did that until you see the kill in the kill feed at the top right of the screen. Really good work there with the Org. And NRG got position. So for that to be so clean was kind of surprising. Either way, that is the most dangerous round dealt with, and obviously that sets NRG back slightly. And this is where NIP could really start to build some money. Cirque making some noise towards Ivy, which will pull just a slight amount of attention from Forest. But ultimately NIP have a pretty much, well, a setup that basically will deal with everything that could potentially happen safely.
Grenades in. That's a big flashbang towards the connector position, but easy pickings for Lekro. That leaves Cirque alone on the A bomb site. Maybe looking to flank rotators after a bomb plant, which had to have been expected, but a numbers game didn't quite work out for them. 3-0 for Ninjas in Pajamas. Cirque with 5,400. He would be lacking a helmet. Perhaps there is some doubt. Perhaps not. He goes for the AWP, as one would expect, a risk worth taking. 1 AK-47 on the Ninjas in Pajamas squad with Rez. Dennis will continue with the MP9. They'll keep the money together. So this is the first test for Ninjas in Pyjamas, the bye rounds. The other rounds have been comfortable.
I like that Rez has the AK as well, because he plays those close range positions, and that one bullet kill potential of the AK can be really powerful in these spots. You don't quite need the scope or anything of an AUG. The mid-range consistent spray downs that the AUG is really good at for Train, also not really required as much. It's the AK perfect for that position. Towards ladder. Looking forward to seeing what Rez can bring to the table today. Really exciting player. Perhaps one of the, well, always in the argument for best mechanics of the Swedish players in the professional circuit. And we'll get an outside set piece coming in from NRG. Maybe just a dump of utility to try to force out counter grenades. You can see they're waiting behind this initial dump, trying to force Rez into a more uncomfortable position.
If you look at NIP versus a Vanguard on Train, Rez has been subject to almost every possible grenade in that position. Loads of HEs bouncing back, multiple Molotovs, all sorts. So at this point, he's a grizzled veteran in that position. 33 seconds for NRG to try and get a bomb plant. They're slowly trying to creep in to these choke points, but with very limited success. Daps is creeping forward, but there's so much time pressure. The bomb now lurking in on Ethan. Rez has been taken out so far, so good. It's a big flashbang, but Forrest will deliver a frag, and there's the bomb dropped. NRG have all the information now. The rotation's coming in. They've only lost one player, 14 seconds, and NRG are having their legs pulled off. They're crawling, and there's no one to help them. Cirque forced to fall back to scurry away. They played a slow round, but didn't really have that success. I mean, Daps made his way towards Sandwich, but it didn't really amount to anything.
And one thing as well that I was worried about is that NRG didn't do any damage in this round. They only got 1 kill. So if we can look at the scoreboard, you guys can see how many kills NRG have gotten so far. If we can get a right click in there, see if we can see the amount of survivors in each round. I don't know if we can see that, but okay, there you go. So you can see that NIP has survived in the last 2-3 rounds with at least 3 players, 4 players, 3 and 5 players. So NRG are not doing the economic damage that they need to do against NIP at this point. But they have the orb that was saved. Tarek, best spawn, can't find anything with it. Maybe it goes back to Cirque now. Indeed it will.
Lecro is 10 for 2. He's Doyle Bronson.
He's been really connecting. It's for sure. Like when Lecro is playing well as well, it's really beautiful to see, because individually he's so strong, and you could see when he started IGLing for NIP that his individual level took a slight hit.
Those HE grenades can be very, very menacing on Train. Keep an eye out for those as this game continues. Some grenades over the top, and again it's a numbers game. That's a great control from Dennis, but only the 1 frag. Maybe Lecro can clean up, as is Ali, and it seems that he can. He'll take 2, but things are getting expensive for Ninjas in Pyjamas, and this might be a winnable round now. Ethan going for a side plant with a flashbang through the smoke. Taking a risk to try and win the round. Oh, he's got off the bomb too quickly. But he will be able to plant it. But that second plant maybe costs him some forward position while that smoke is up.
This gets a little bit awkward for both sides here. Good initial connection from Ethan, though, so they know roughly where he is. But Tarek is unknown, but won't matter. Get right, waits for it, finds it, and Gary is actually the only player without a death so far, so he'll be looking to keep that statistic alive, and he'll do so. Gary takes down Ethan. Good round from him, 8-0, and the defuse will be in. NRG with maximum loss bonus, $3,400, and that will be $4,200 in total per player, thanks to the bomb being planted as well. So no issues on the money for NRG, but they have issues in winning the rounds and keeping the economy of NIP in check.
Oh, yeah, and fragging.
Yep.
Getting through choke points, unless it's an eco. So it looks like a pretty cold start for NRG. Ethan seemed to be strafing right when he took that shot with the AWP. If his crosshair was almost on, I think it was off purely based on the strafe. But it's not too late to turn things around for NRG, as underwhelming as the start has been for them. Cirque looking for a peek in the IV position. There's a great pop flash you can do with a left and a right click from the ladderway get right standing. Nico will do it on occasion for FaZe. But there'll be a deep smoke, and he'll take it for granted. He trusts, but you can't be trusted. He's about to be betrayed. That's a beautiful shot. Get right, bouncing around, and they've been compromised from the back.
Cirque so fast to the bomb, well, the old bomb train, and he'll be nailing Lecro. That was a great shot. And his position is so scary at this point. Rez is going to be forced out, and nothing's really necessarily safe at this point. Another headshot coming in from Cirque towards CT spawn, of all places. And NIP have been completely outmaneuvered, and there's just nothing that the remainder can really do except just keep themselves alive. And yeah, this is fantastic. What an opportunity found by Cirque. And that is the difficulty of playing Ivy, is that it's... You don't want too much of your attention to be focused on Ivy, and at the same time, you can't over-peak Ivy either, because it's such a good position for AWPers like Cirque to get a pick. So you have to take the risk sometimes, and we saw Get Right taking that risk. It didn't pay off this time around. It actually opened up the round for NRG. But that said, James, this is not a consistent way for NRG to win rounds. So we'll have to see more from them and their defaults.
It's kind of weird in the shower area that there's some graffiti really low to the ground. Seems like a laborious effort to get graffiti down there in a potentially dangerous spot.
Denied.
Second frag. This was so quick. This was beautiful. Look at that. It's so smooth. You just scope in, the player's just sailing across your screen, and he gets shot in the face. 448 damage. 446 or 448. Common headshot damage with the AWP. First round on the board for NRG. Again, we said it wasn't too late, and things can get expensive very quickly on the CT side. NRG moving down into the pop dog position, charging out. Rez is blind. There's people coming from either side of him. Forrest trying to fall back to sandwich, able to do that. The bomb's being planted already. This is crazy, so fast. A minute 30 and the bomb's been planted.
Huge kill from Cirque as well. That was the only player in a flanking position, although Get Right will be quick to be the next player to be in such a position, but he needs players on the forward part of the push to survive, and they will not. So there's nothing really left for him to be able to accomplish in such a spot as this. And NRG have done exactly what they needed to, which is wipe NIP out a couple rounds in a row to decimate their economy. And Breeze will find Get Right at the cost of his life. But Get Right should be able to survive, and I don't think there's too much interest for NRG to hunt him at this point.
It was his birthday recently. He's looking handsome. Yeah. I think he's got more handsome.
He's, as most men experience, James, he is indeed getting more handsome with time.
Yeah, he's not even in his 30s yet. I think he's 28. So there's plenty more handsome to come.
Nice.
What is the ceiling of his handsome?
Okay, well, NIP will have just enough to scrape together a buy here without save. So this is the last chance for them to save themselves from having to eco. And I don't know what to expect here from NIP, if they'll try to do anything different. I don't think they necessarily do. You don't have to be too crazy on Train with your CT setups. That's often why teams find it easier. On Train is one of those maps where you can see certain teams will have such a different ability from half to half, because the CT side is pretty easy in comparison to some of the demands of the T side. Obviously, it depends on the team that you're playing as to how easy the CT side is going to be, but generally speaking, it's a little bit... There's less decisions that need to be made.
Man, Rez gets, honestly, if you just watch his POV on Train, it's constant harassment, HEs, Molotovs, just constantly being forced away from that position. But I think it's interesting from the perspective, like, he suffers so much trying to play in that position, that seeing how he has to move away, and if he coordinates with his teammates to cover certain angles and so on while he does that, is quite interesting, because people like Vanguard, again, have executes to punish a player trying to move away from that position. So if you want to play that yourself, you could learn about that. But anyway, we've got to push into the B bomb side, and Dennis is holding things down for the time being. He's got support from Lecro, who's been looting a little bit. Sees Breeze, and he will not be able to win that duel. Going for the long sprays with the M4A4. Not on this occasion, no. Lecro, that's a big surprise, which may just win the round. Cirque is up close, though. Quick peek on the ladder. Can't do much about that. We'll move to the sidewalk position. That smoke will soon go, and that might make him face two people at the same time. 14 seconds. He's running out of time to plant this bomb. He's got to move a little bit too forward to collect the bomb. There's a CT by the spools now, going for the fake, but he has to commit this time, and surely Get Right's just going to charge in. So that was rough. Even faking at that position, maybe he gets one frag. I guess he resigned himself to death and tried to make it more expensive. Didn't manage to do that, and NIP are back to winning ways.
Yeah, it's true as well. Like, you know, what you're saying about Rez, just how he gets abused a lot by utility. But and you can see it's 0 for 3 at the moment. But the thing is that Rez, everyone knows that how dangerous Rez is from that position. Like, if you're facing NIP, you have to, like, you know, more so than some other teams perhaps, you have to keep the ladder player, you know, him, responsible and accountable with your utility and make sure that he's not occupying that position. And you got to do it in a lot of different rounds, because if you ever do go to the outside bomb site towards A, you have to clear that position. Like, there is you know, a couple attacks where maybe you can smoke it off. Like, if you try to go for like a T main Ivy split, there is a world where you can try to smoke it off and not go through that arduous process that we've seen NRG going through. But ultimately, you know, you have to keep forcing him out of the position, because otherwise it becomes a tell that if you're not doing that, maybe you're not going outside. So you kind of have to just keep him honest so that NIP are always guessing as to what you're doing. So even though he's not fragging, my point is that he's still having a pretty huge impact and just being so terrifying from that position. Got to deal with him. And NRG looking like they may go and try to bait out some utility here from NIP, threatening players running out in towards A, but instead it'll be down the ramp for Breeze, who will be dealt with by Dennis. He's having a comfortable time. Quick pop flash through the smoke for Ethan to try to take control of the bomb train. But the bomb is moving towards the A site, so they're really counting on NIP over-rotating, and maybe that's just happened. Important pick from Daps, but Rez, he's in heaven. I don't think you'd expect him here.
Will he be able to still stop the bomb from being planted? Tarek's been crab walking. He's done a good job. The cover's been taken away, as has Tarek now. And he spotted one of the last two players, Rez. He's got a lot of information for his team. And Ethan may arrive too late to do anything about this. I don't know if Daps realizes that he's been spotted. No beeps just yet. Ethan, does he go for 2? There's the first one. Surely can guarantee a second kill. That, how on earth? What kind of level of awareness is that? That's absolutely ridiculous. That has got to be tilting. That's ridiculous.
I think it's okay in a way, though, because for Ethan, you know, that's the risk he's taking, because he has to go for the big man play. But
it was so fast, like he's got a 40-inch widescreen or something.
Got some rear view mirrors in there.
That's absurd. It was so fast. I actually tried to play CS. I have a 34-inch screen, which is, I forget the ratio, but there isn't really support for that in the game at the moment. I know it's on a list, though, but I don't think it's high on the list. But I do know it's on the list.
That's too huge.
It would be stupid.
Anything more than 24 inches is too much.
Yes.
I think.
There's too much to focus on. It's like going climax. Just can't focus because everything's too big.
Yeah, it's too much.
Great awareness, though. The spatial awareness from Lecro there was great. So that was really awesome to see. Ninjas in Pyjamas starting strong on the CT side, as one would expect. 2 AWPs at present, the 2 Orgs and the AK-47 on Rez once again. NRG have a quite reasonable buy, but we had a nice fast round from them earlier on where they planted the bomb super early, but they don't always have so much success with these choke points.
Yeah, a different setup with the double ops here. You can see Rez playing further back than he would otherwise be. And hey, it's going to work out pretty damn well so far. A 3 versus 4 on the hands of NRG as they keep trying to jockey for position on to a plant here, but it looks like it could just be denied. Garrett's got a fantastic position by camera. Ooh, whiffs the spray, and that is a big opportunity now. Gone a foul for NIP. It's a 2 versus 2 all of a sudden with plenty of time, but getting a bomb plant is still difficult because in a 2 versus 2, that means one player's out of action for a fairly significant amount of time, considering that these CTs are pretty close. You can see Ethan will fake it out, and looking pretty calm here so far, and the bomb will go down.
Old bomb is where you can find some of these NIP players. Lecro creeping. He's got a deagle out, and that is extremely dangerous. Always on point with the deagle.
Oh,
was that his teammate?
Yeah.
Some nerves here in the second game, and that has maybe exposed Lecro's position. This might be disastrous. He spots a shoulder, Dennis, but the movement from Breeze is perfect, and that is a very important round for NRG. It has made the money very bad for Ninjas in Pyjamas, so there is a chance for NRG to claw some rounds back now.
Yeah, that was really weird, actually, because NIP started off with a great advantage. I think, obviously, you know, there's a couple big errors. You know, of course, Garay sort of whiffing that initial spray. That, like, by whiffing that spray, I think that kill could have won the rounds. And then, of course, you know, Dennis shooting his teammate, I think did give his Lecro's position away. So, yeah, a couple...
Everyone's position away.
A couple, yeah, absolutely. A couple big errors there, really swinging things towards NRG, but they have to be able to capitalize. And it is a complete full save from NIP, so they shouldn't really be able to do too much here. 3-man push onto Connector is actually going to work out because Dassel's alone, but they don't have Kevlar or Kit. The B-bomb side is about to be compromised.
Oh, have a look at Dennis's position. You know, a saving grace for NRG might be that the bomb is nowhere near the B-bomb sites at the moment, because if these two players had the bomb in tow and they moved into B and no one was there, Dennis might get a free kill on a potential bomb planter. But NRG have been super slow with the bomb. They're trying to get the information. There comes Tarek from the back. So they clear the upper area, almost. Now Get Right's between them and the rest, but circle trade. Do they know that it's safe? They'll soon find out. But it's a 2 versus 2, which means that there's a fair chance Ninjas in Pyjamas could take some weaponry. They could pick something up. NRG have no idea what's safe. They have some time on the clock, but again, they're not through any of the choke points. Now, they might have an idea. Maybe there's some discussion of where the dropped rifles are, and they have to try and make an estimate as to what is likely to be the case. They'll hear these grenades, so that there are some clues there. But right now, it's just Forest with the Desert Eagle. Lekro to rotate with the USP. So it's a good situation, but Forest's position may be absolutely fatal. They haven't really done enough investigation there, but he's just gone a bit too deep. So close to the headshot, but not quite. That really could have gone the way of NIP. Would have been a very surprising round, but NRG will prevail.
Yeah, it's one of those spots which sucks so badly for the T's, because those two players can be absolutely anywhere, which means that 1v1s with the element surprise going the way of the pistols is, yeah, it can be favorable in certain spots for the CTs for sure. But we'll see NRG with a respectable amount of rounds on the board, considering all the struggles they've had. Not too bad at all. And the buy of NIP is not perfect. MP9 for Dennis. Lack utility as well. Not as many orgs as they would perhaps like. But that's okay. Here comes the execute into the outside site. Get gets 2, and Forest from atop the green train with one of his own as well. So this push looks like it's been stopped dead in its tracks. Bomb is down towards Pop as Das tries to get forward position, which he will do. Get finally taken down, and with that, maybe there's a recovery for the bombing in the on the cards here. But Dennis is on top of it with that MP9.
That's 1 versus 2, gets his bursts in, just about. Got to collect the bomb. Now Lekro can use this time to reposition, and can see the bullets being fired with the pistol, I guess. He's got the AWP, and he will rotate his position once again, coming through from Connector. Bomb's been planted. Daps focusing on old bomb, but he knows that Lekro could be Ivy, could be Connector. Ooh, I thought he was going to wait at the wrong time, but a crouch peek from Lekro. Straight in the dome. Can't test Lekro with pistols. Yeah,
honestly, I mean, that was a bit too close, I feel like. I'm surprised that Dennis went for this duel. He had an MP9, and he sees Daps. He has the option to go back behind cover, knowing that he has control of the bomb, and just playing an awkward angle. But he takes a fight long range with an MP9 versus an AK when his teammate's completely out of position to trade him. So I feel like Dennis gave NRG another chance there to win that one. So
I wonder how many rounds on the T side NRG would be satisfied with as a minimum. Because people like Forest and Get Right were more or less born on trains at this point.
I feel like 5 against NIP. NIP's T side is not as good as their CT side on this map. I feel like both of these teams are like kind of similar in that way. I feel like NRG has... I feel like they're a team that should have a better T side on train than NIP's, but it's going to be about how well these teams do on their CT sides respectively. So I feel like a 10-5. I feel like that's a good place for both teams to be. But it does leave a lot to that the variance of the pistol, which is always distressing. Deagles are out. Well, a Deagle. One Deagle is out.
So we're seeing some common grenades lined up towards Ivy. Some pretty standard stuff. Bounce of smoke off the right wall towards the left. Well, that one's got a little shorter, so that one's a little different. But sometimes you'll see almost where Get Right was standing. The grenade will go slightly longer, then a Molotov on the other side. This one's trying to close off the whole area. Not expecting Forrest to be behind a smoke like that.
And Gera gets punished for it.
Yeah, that's the worst. It's like when someone peeks and you're behind your teammate, but you get shot first. Just wonder why. So NRG could potentially be wrapping towards the B bomb site. That looks likely as we've got two players making their way in the higher area, catching Dennis off guard. And that is a big chance, not just to plant the bomb, but to win the round. Lecro smoked off the choke point. NIP out of position, and look at the money. The money sucks, so they may have to save at this point, purely because they've been outmaneuvered. It is extremely high risk to try and make a retake play. They've only got one of the three players with a defuse kit as well. If he goes down in the wrong position, it could be even worse. But it seems they're going to creep. That is a very important frag, so it looks like they might go for this after all. That bomb is quite far ticked already, but they keep winning the duels. Again, Lecro's got to get on that bomb. And he isn't close enough to it just yet. He's got to run. He's got to get on it. If he dies, that is the round over. Tarek, is he going to go for it? Is he going to commit? There. Oh, he's so close, but doesn't quite get it. And they will win the round after all, NIP. They have shown themselves to be masters of a slow retake. Dust 2 was a great example of that. But again, an opportunity in CT spawn, and they capitalized on it.
Yeah, I mean, great work from Rez. I don't know how he gets that second kill. He already, I think, was down to like half HP, and he's coming into a duel where he's peeking onto a position where a player knows he's coming from that angle, set up, and he still wins the fight in like a prolonged spray battle, even though he's late to that spray battle. So it's kind of crazy that he wins that. Really good effort there from Rez, and a fast response here from NRG with the pistols towards the lower bomb site. Now getting the bomb down is not too difficult in these spots, but actually winning the round from it is incredibly hard. And he can't even get the bomb down. Great hold here from Dennis, although he will eventually be dealt with, but he's done enough. Lecro will take 2 down himself as well, but Tarek out with the AUG here to do some extra damage, but it's just 1, as NIP look pretty good, moving to their 10th round. And even though NRG have looked a little flat on their T side, as I mentioned, I feel like NIP themselves will probably have... It's likely that they'll have somewhat of an even performance if the pistol goes the way of NRG. I think these teams are pretty evenly matched at the moment.
All right, last round of the first half. Cirque looking towards Ivy for a peek. He's elevated, so somebody went up the ladder. There was a very good chance of a flick. Ethan, in the meantime, has made his way, looking for an opportunity. They don't seem to have any idea. Rez taken out for free. Does he even come? I think he might have been blind there, so for all he knows, it could have been a player from main. There's a fadeaway from Lecro. He's got the information now, but what can they really do about it? We've got a smoke. We've got a site cut in half due to the smokes. You can see Forrest creeping as well. Big headshot from him, quickly moving around, switching out for an AK-47, going back towards Sandwich, trying to do what he can, but his teammates are getting dropped in the meantime, focusing on Ivy, but Breeze will be better for it. 1 versus 2 now for Dennis. He gets wrecked, and that will be the last round for NRG. 5-10. Can they turn it around in the second half? Find out after the break. Oi oi Savaloy, as some people say at football games here in London and other places in the UK. It's not about Savaloys though, it's about pies, or really it's about Counter-Strike ultimately. And we are in the second half of Train now. It's 10-5 in favour of Ninjas in Pyjamas, but they are now on the much more difficult side. And there's Handsome Man, recent birthday man, Get Right to kick things off.
Yeah, it'd be really interesting to see how this goes. I do expect both NRG and NIP to be kind of like the same-ish on their T sides. But NRG, they were a bit more flat than I expected, so there's definitely a lot of room for improvement for NIP to be making on this T side. And they're going to go towards inner here, mostly, just keeping it simple. But here is a fight on their hands. NRG not allowing them to even get down the ramp here without exchanging many, many bullets. And that will give NRG lots of time to rotate players. So you can see that due to that fact, NIP don't want to commit down into the inner bomb site without the requisite frags. But by slowing things down, they will spread out the NRG defense and allow themselves to reposition. You can see that Forest is moving towards Ivy, and he can create some problems here for NRG. And in the meantime, NIP, they can go towards A or B. It doesn't really matter as long as they do it together and just let Forest do his thing here and just play off of his information. NIP are in a pretty good spot.
Love a P250 on a pistol round for the T side. Forest creeping, jumping, trying to avoid being headshot, but Tarek cannot do the same. The bomb hasn't been spotted just yet, but it's about to make its way towards default. And Ethan will spot Lekro moving towards Oil. He knows there's a player on the high ground as well. Daps always has a smoke and a diffuse kit in a CT pistol round for his team. But will he have an opportunity to use it? He's looking and connecting, looking for the flanking player of Forest. They know that he's there somewhere. But now in the 3 versus 3, it's 3v2 on the B bomb side. Now it's 3v1 with Forest starting to move through connector. So he's not going to have an angle soon. The smoke is up. Daps gets wrecked immediately. And there are some super headshots from NRG. Kit on the bomb. Bomb defused. 6 rounds for NRG.
That frag could have been so important, but they were still dismantled. So, okay, this is exactly how it went in the first half insofar as the result. It was a CT pistol win for NIP in that first half, and then, but the bomb went down, so it was a defuse, meaning that all that extra money was there for the T side. NRG opted to go for a full force buy, but you can see here, NIP, Dennis buys a Deagle and some Kevlar, and everybody else just gets Deagles. So NIP playing it more conservatively, they will be able to get a buy in the following round if they really want to. It will be somewhat of a low buy though. Actually, no, they'll have plenty of cash for utility as well as AKs. So a couple kills is a pretty respectable objective that is meaningful and would, work out really well for them if they're able to get them. Moving into the following round with the AKs and utility. But no kills yet. Still no kills. Nope, still nothing. Tarek, on the other hand, though, is living the good life with the MP9. Lekro, he's good for it, James. Just a couple, just 2. That's all we ask.
Train is his signature map for getting Deagle shots when you're going to lose the round and draw an eco. Back in the Godsend days, the struggle was real, but it was always getting 1, 2, 3 kills with the Desert Eagle. Around the B bomb sites a lot. Long gone days now.
So the 4-buy is out. They got the AKs. Now, I would love to see them go on towards the outside. Throw a couple of nades in, force some CD counter utility, then execute on top of it later on. Put those AKs to good use. What do an IP think? Well, also running towards inner, which will be heard and felt by NRG. They've repositioned their players accordingly. And that means that they've got forward position. You see Tarek there in T-Con, as well as a man in Pop Dog. So NRG have... So right now, NIP need... they kind of need to keep NRG honest, because NRG have way too much info right now.
Preemptive Molotov, incendiary, to be specific, from NRG. But the commitment will be into the B bomb site. Daps is completely blind. Rosa spotted him. Got to go back to the well. Almost loses because of it. He's carrying the bomb also. So much time on the clock. The bomb's getting planted, and the remainder of NRG are miles away. All they see is a mirage, and they will think better of it and just move away, it seems. Although Tarek may be looking for a cheeky upgrade, close range with an MP9, fast fire rate. Try to get something if he can. He's got himself an M4A4, but it will be an early round for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Again, the T side can be a struggle, but to get the first buy round is a fantastic start for the Swedes.
This is really interesting, actually, because NIP, they execute onto that B-bomb side. Even though NRG knew it was coming, they had a deep push on T-Con, they had a guy in Pop Dog, they had 2 players close on B as well. They had everything to understand that that was coming. But it was the finesse behind the utility for NIP that really sunk NRG. You could see that their players were incredibly blind, with a lot of good flashbangs coming in from the upper position onto the bomb site to shut down the close spots. You could see the I forget who it was, just like sitting there with the MP9, just totally blind, couldn't really do anything. And for the fact for NIP to be able to win around like that, even though NRG knew it was coming, that's a really good sign for them, James, because they can sporadically throw that round in, and it will likely have success. They don't need too many rounds. Let's not forget, NRG only got 5 on their first half.
I love this setup play. Daps looking away because he's expecting a flashbang. How are his 180s? Perhaps we will find out. I don't think anyone's in position to drop a flash, actually. They're all so close. They're going to use the numbers game. This could be a complete wipeout. Circle with a lovely flash. Flick, sorry. There's the 180 from Daps, but that is asking a hell of a lot. I think a 90-degree turn may be more reasonable. So far, so good for NIP. They get an early pick. Of course, it's a 4 versus 4, but it's harder to defend in such a situation. Nobody to receive the molly and Pop Dog. Defensive positions around Ivy, so NRG are somewhat devoid of information versus the norm. But Circus changed his position with the AWP, which is also quite important.
Yeah, it's such a big win to get on the T side, a pick that early, and you can just reset the situation. And you can see NRG, they've got to play this safe setup. They can't really get that forward information. They can't play players into Pop Dog. I mean, if they would have done, they would have gotten Molly down to position. They can't play players into T-Con as well. Or they can, but it just comes at a big risk. And so they've gone for the safest possible option, which is just to play players on fast rotation, having 2 players towards connector. And you give up all these open choke points, and look how easy it is for the T's to get out into position on the A yard. So now you have to rely on element of surprise, and maybe that's enough. Ethan popping out from the bomb train, Cirque with one as well. Only 10 seconds remaining to get the bomb down. This looks very desperate. NIP had significant advantages, which now look to be thrown away by some good shooting from NRG. And there you go. 3 players will survive as well, so that was a desperate scenario that turned into their favor right at the end.
Lekra is leading the frags with 20 kills at the moment. Let's not forget he got 10 kills in about 4 rounds. But of the duels I've seen from Breeze so far, mainly obviously in the first half because we're early into the second, he's won a lot of important duels. He's looking really hot for his squad, and they did have a cold start in general, but I think he is really ready to make an impact in this game if it's possible to do so for NRG. Of course, they're on the favoured side now, the CT side. They are much better equipped. There'll be a pop flash play, and guess who? It's Breeze to try and clean up this Ivy position. He knows one more player is there, but he won't hold on to the bomb. They have a 2-man advantage. They can settle with that. He doesn't need to take a fight to the death there in that position, as they have so much more advantage. It's going to be really hard for NIP to do anything at this point. They're not through any choke points, except maybe Pop Dog. At this juncture, and with only 3 players to play off of, this is going to be really hard for them.
Yeah, this is a marked difference in the approach that NIP had. NRG taking these aggressions, knowing that if they get these early pick-offs, these early advantages, that they're going to be more confident playing the mid and late rounds against NIP. And look how difficult it is for NIP to get through the choke points here. When you have no picks against the CTs, they can cover everything pretty much in an effective manner, and you can't really split the defense. You just don't have enough players to do it on the T side of Train. Once you go down to like a 3v5, it becomes pretty much impossible against a team playing correctly. And That said, you know, as I noted, the stylistic difference, NRG going for some of these aggressions, trying to get more forward position, you know, trying to test T-Con, trying to get the Ivy pushes going and so on, and going for the two-man setup on the inner position. We're only like 4 rounds in. We've seen all these things so far. From NIP, we didn't really see any of those. And NIP didn't need to do it, though, on their first half. Whereas NIP put NRG in a position where NRG need to really take the initiative away as fast as possible from NIP. And I feel like, James, we're going to see that inner push, that inner set piece coming in very soon. Because NIP have started to reach desperate territory. Nothing's really been working in the last couple of rounds. I think throwing in that inner play, you know, could be a good timing for it. Especially given the fact that they got these 2 saved weapons.
Yeah, but they have to wonder, NRG have all this information as well. So if NRG are going to anticipate that, then it potentially becomes not so easy to decide to do that.
Yeah, I'm curious as well, because the time in which it worked, NRG did know it was coming, but they did have different gear to work with. They had a couple MP9s and so on, and now they've got AWPs at their disposal, so I don't know how that changes things, but here is indeed you know, this excellent play from Breeze on the aggression, set up by the flash from Tarek.
There's a smoke you can do from above B to connector, which I think has the potential to bait a sniper to stand on the train to look over the smoke. So if, for example, the sniper on NIP was boosted on the rail above B here, I feel like you could potentially bait a pick like that, and then you're going to have a stronger push afterwards if you can do something like that. So a play like that would maybe have some potential. There isn't a lot of money to be spent for an Ninja's Pajamas. You can see Lecros picks up a Deagle, which is always a reasonable buy. Beyond that, they haven't really spent anything, maybe the odd P250, one of which has been lost already. But I think that's a play worth trying, on occasion at least. On this occasion, it won't happen. Not yet, anyway. Well, they don't have any grenades.
Yeah, I'm actually curious why they didn't go for the force buy here around the 2 save weapons, because I don't think, you know, that means 2 players can't really buy properly next rounds. So are they going to be doing double save, or, you know, what is the play? I mean, they've got, I guess they do have a lot of loss bonus actually. So
they may have a particular play in mind with smoke grenades and so on, and maybe perhaps CZs will be enough or something like that. There's today AWP looking to do some damage. He still has a whole minute on the clock, but now his clock has been smashed by the likes of Cirque. So we don't have to wait long to find out what they have in mind with this money. It is kind of weird, isn't it?
I guess, at least here though, they won't have somebody with an AWP that's a bit slower moving. So instead, the players with lower money will be on pistols, which can be beneficial. And they'll have enough money for full utility. So are they going for another half buy? Interesting.
Half buy with a hero AK.
Okay. Interesting stuff.
They've got the Chinese abacus out. They've done the numbers, Dan.
I just wanted to see that inner set piece again, because it looked so effective the first time around.
You could see this in anticipation from NRG, starting with 4 in the A bomb side, which is common. But I wonder what their read of the NIP situation is after that previous round. Got confidence leaving Daps alone deep in the B bomb sites. Will there be a pop flash for Tarek? There'll be a pop flash from the T's, but it's an easy one to avoid. Second one, maybe not so much. I'm not sure if that was a team flash or not. Either way, it is 1 frag for NIP. They will look to make things expensive. Forrest running past the angle, taking one through the wall, so he's alive for now. And now he's dead. Dennis has the bomb. He has a Desert Eagle and some armor. Not much else to say at this point. 16 for 16. NRG starting to catch up on the kill feed. Again, it was a very slow start for them, but now they have the luxury of the better side of the choke points on the CT side. And they'll look to tie the score, not too far away from it. Still with the bomb, Dennis, and 40 seconds. He's picked up an AK-47, but Cirque will take it away again. 11-11. We're all tied up.
All right, so, you know, if you have a round which you feel like, okay, this is a really strong round, this would be the time to bring it out, because you really need to start getting those rounds together. NRG, things are getting a bit out of control. Cirque's even bought some Julies, so that really goes to show how much fun he's having. And he's going to go straight to the inner pick. I think this is a great choice, actually, from Cirque. Especially because, again, we know that NIP's success has been inner. That's where they had a pretty flawless round. It was pretty impressive how they managed to pull that one off. And so smart to go back to this peak at this time from Cirque, but he doesn't get anything. And they've been playing a really slow pace, and that's a big miss from Cirque, and Daps goes down, so there's not even the trade there. That's a problem for NRG.
We did have some discussions about consistency with Cirque in the back before we went live with the broadcast, so maybe those were relevant from what we've seen just there. Had a nice setup with the almost bait from B ramp, but NRG have had limited success, at least in this little vacuum. They have had almost all the rounds in this half so far, which is fantastic for them in terms of momentum. And NIP may be waiting for their, well, Dennis and Lekra may be waiting for their teammates to join him towards that B-bomb site for an execute. Rotation may not be far away. They've got to be quiet. You can see there are 2 NRG players very close to that pop dog position, but it may not be so easy for them to move up the ladder.
Tense stuff as NIP set up the push for B. Okay, there's a dump of utility. Do they go with this? Yes, they do. There's nothing to stop Cirque, though, from picking up a kill onto Rez. Nothing to stop Breeze from spraying onto Get Right. Nothing to stop Tarek coming in on the flank. It seems like NIP have been just dismantled from every single play. They didn't seem ready at all for any of that, James.
Tarek's flank was instant. I think it was preemptive. I don't think he even waited. As soon as I said it won't be so easy to go up the ladder, he started moving towards it. You could see the temptation, but I think with playing so many matches, you just have sometimes you just have an idea for the pace of the game, and you have a kind of read for what's going on. Nothing's happening around the map, and I guess they read that there was likely a congregation above the B bomb site, and they're probably spending time walking there not to give it away, but the sheer silence gave it away, it seems, anyway. So beautiful timing from Tyke. You've got to be brave not to do that, and he was. One player makes it out into the A train yard, Dennis gets absolutely wrecked by an Ethan. Red moving forward, that's a big flick. No, it's Get Right to save him, actually. He was in a lot of trouble there. 3 versus 4 in favor of NRG, and it gets a lot worse for Ninjas in Pyjamas. Forrest and Rez remaining, so that gets his bell rung through the corner. Wonders how on earth he's still alive, and now it's just Forrest. 1 versus 3. He's got the AK. If anyone could do it, it's him. Very confident player for Ninjas in Pyjamas, even after all these years. Plenty of time to work with. 2 players to find. We can see Daps holding an angle. They have a rough idea of where he is, but he can back off towards main, for example. There aren't enough personnel to cover all the potential angles. As he waits timeout, there are more and more question marks for NRG. And he continues. Daps just about spotted. Where is the trade fragger? A smoke to create some space. It's down to Forrest to plant the bomb. Moonwalking towards old bomb, while Ethan goes to join his teammate, keep that trade fragging possibility. What will he choose to do next?
He might actually have a clean path through to CT, so there's a lot of options because of that. There's a couple blind spots here for NRG, and he's going to go between them, and this will be very interesting. I'm not sure if will he be able to get the surprise on either of these players. Oh man, they could be CTs just standing absolutely anywhere. Train's very difficult in spots like this, but maybe he's actually just owned this one. Finds Daps. He's actually going to go back towards the A bomb site here, going for the very fast plant, not towards the inner bomb site. Does Forrest have any idea that Ethan is... Oh, Ethan, was he running towards pop? Did you think it was B? I have no idea.
He
Forrest
must have.
Goes down immediately, though, as Ethan realized. What a response from him. That was very strange.
That is absolutely wild. He thought it was B. He stopped in a point of danger and managed to just land the headshot. That is absolutely crazy. Really unfortunate for Forrest. To put himself in that position to win in the first place in a 1 versus 3 was fantastic. But he couldn't quite. I mean, I know he'll be frustrated with that, but you got to let it go. NRG 3 rounds away from victory. NIP 2 rounds behind, but they've only won 1 round in this half.
So one thing as well, because I was talking about the inner play so much, the last time we saw the inner play was so different to the first time, because the last time they didn't have any, they couldn't deny Cirque from getting a frag from Connector. There was no smoke, there was no flash, there was literally nothing to stop Cirque with the AWP from that position, just to nail someone just running down the ramp. There was nothing to stop, I forget which who it was standing by the spools. There was, before there was a bunch, there was like 2 flashbangs there, staggered flashes to completely blind any player playing close. So Cirque gets a kill, player by spools gets a kill. Tarek swings in from the flank immediately to get a kill because Pop Dog was not cleared. And so all these things that didn't happen the first time around happened, and I'm curious, why that was the case. Maybe NIP just wanted to go contact, felt like that was the best solution, but quick trade of frags as a quick movement from NIP towards the inner bomb site occurs. And again, we've seen NIP in this position a few times, James, where they get this opening pick, even if they lose a player for it, that is still hugely advantageous for the Ts. And look at this, NRG, they're asking questions. They're like, okay, we've lost a player early, we've got to find out what's going on, let's get some information. Ivy push with Cirque. Pretty unexpected. And that's a huge amount of info for NRG. They're so proactive, and it's working out.
Yeah, and a minute 10 tends to be a lot of time in a CSGO round these days, so I think there is time to risk the rotation, walking all the way up in this position, whereas maybe otherwise you'd go back and rotate elsewhere. They will bolster the defenses towards the B bomb site. Ethan won't check the A main position. Dennis is waiting there. Ethan continues to creep towards the B bomb site. We've got the Molotov behind. Oh, they're gonna, is it a fake? Forrest rotating, not expecting this. Look at the continuation spray from Ethan. A great awareness from him. Takes the bomb away as well. And it just goes from bad to worse for Ninjas in Pajamas. They are being abused on their slow timings. NRG are taking liberties, and they're putting themselves in a very strong position to win this game of Train.
But Gero may have just outmaneuvered everybody. He's just Cirque remaining on the bomb train, and he's been hitting his shots, so he is perhaps the last guy you want in this position. There's nothing that they can do to stop Cirque here. Dennis with a quick pick off towards Daps, but he is too far away from the bomb. There's no chance to deny. 14th round going towards NRG, and oh man, it's such a desperate T side for NIP. I felt like they've managed to get opening picks. They started off on their first buy round 18, the third round of the second half. They managed to get that win with a great execute onto the inner bomb site. Haven't seen any repeat of that execution on the inner side. And one way that you might do that is you want to set up expectation by running defaults, and that's how you can kind of obscure, mask a really strong play like that and punish a team for trying to over-prepare for something blindly. But NIP just been struggling for some reason to fully capitalize on any opening picks that they get. Their pushes into the A bomb site haven't really been working out either. And they're going to look to split onto the A site with very limited utility and not many guns. It's not working out so far.
Yeah, it's been a very, very arduous half of Counter-Strike for Ninjas in Pajamas. They have potential, but it won't be easy by any means. Lekro still with a Desert Eagle. Cirque creeping. Will he pop up? Dennis might see the legs, but he can't even fire a shot. Lekro's just about getting up the ladder, but there seems to have still been some inaccuracy, and it's match point for NRG.
Yeah, I mean, again, as I said, like I expected that both NIP and NRG would struggle on the T side, but I didn't expect this much of a struggle for NIP. They really can't get it going, and that's a shame. Right, into it we go. This could be the last round of this best of one, unless NIP can suddenly breathe some new life into their T side, and they don't have any utility here. They're going to be relying on the timings and the picks here, and Forrest can't deliver. It's very unfortunate, the timing of his peaks, but that's how it goes on CS sometimes. And how are they going to get through these choke points with such limited utility? 3 flashbangs to work off of. And Tarek, he's going to get flashed in here, and if he takes over T-Com for just this flashbang, so much information, James.
Drop a smoke, and they can fall back from that. NIP being forced away from what you might consider you have for free. So this is a horrible spot for them, but they've just gone straight back and taken it. And maybe they will expect extra players to be towards that B bomb site thanks to that smoke grenade. They're creeping into B at the same time. So Get Right will try to show presence, try to pull people back towards the A bomb site, but they're quickly going back towards B. Cirque spotting so many players, Tarek and Cirque delivering, but now Cirque has been taken out. It's a 4 versus 3. NIP still needs to cross and get that bomb towards the bomb site, but Rez will stand and fight. Lecro, 16 HP, planting the bomb. Ethan had a chance, but maybe he gets 2 since he doesn't fire the bullet. There's 1, there's 2. Surely that's the match. Rez, 1 versus 2, no angle on the bomb, no angles at all. No more NIP players, and that is the victory for NRG. Almost every single round in that second half, a dominating performance in the second against NIP.
Yeah, NIP have a lot, I think, to think about for their T side of this match. It was. I feel like there was a lot of opportunity. You know, you saw that really successful inner take, which we didn't see repeated. And when you get a successful take